and welcome to this year's Fi360 conference and presentation, the Build Your Brand workshop and virtual experience. Over the next 15 minutes, we are going to define why building a brand is so important. We're going to go through the building blocks of creating a consistent brand. Then we're going to share some really great resources and websites that you can use to create the foundation of your custom brand. And I'm going to lightly touch on branding in the post-COVID-19 world and why it's so important, more so than ever, that you have a consistent and professional brand. And then, of course, if you have any questions, comments, ideas, and you want to share them, we highly encourage you to use that chat feature so that way we can answer those questions at the end. And the reason why, we want to make sure that everyone here gets the most value out of today's conversation. So let's begin. Let's kick it off with, what is a brand? What is it? It is your first impression. It's a feeling and sensation that your clients, prospects, and centers of influence experience when they work with you and your firm. And why branding is important is because it helps to make a memorable impression on your clients. It allows your customers and your clients to know what to expect from you and your company. Also, it is a way of distinguishing yourself from competitors and clarifying what it is that you offer that makes you the better choice. Said another way, it helps you stand out and differentiate your business. So what exactly is a brand? Well, a brand represents the perception of your company in the eyes of the world. That includes your professional reputation, advertising message, marketing content, and your logo. Your brand is what sets you apart from the endless sea of competitors, and it shows your clients who you are and what they can expect from working with you. Going beyond just a memorable logo, good branding has the power to increase the value of your business, provides employees with direction and motivation, and makes acquiring new clients easier. So let's take a look at these three examples here. Does anyone know immediately who these companies are? Yeah, right. The swoosh. Everyone knows that. Nike, just do it. Well, without the brand behind the swoosh, it would just be that, a swoosh. Nike's brand is the one that creates all of that great messaging and value that is perceived through that swoosh. What about the gentleman on the horse with the mallet? What's he doing? He's playing polo. That's Ralph Lauren's classic polo logo. And then the Center for Fiduciary Excellence, who are they? Well, of course, those are our friends at CFEX. So everyone in today's conversation can easily identify these three brands, every one of us. And the reason why is because these organizations have taken the time to build a brand around their logos so that way we immediately know who they are, what they do, and how they can support us. Let me describe why this is important. It has been found many times across many different industries, which is fascinating to me, that when you have a consistent brand, it can increase your revenue by 23%. 23%! It's huge! So if anyone here in today's conversation is interested in improving your revenue by 23%, well, we're going to teach you exactly how to do that through consistent branding. Also, Schwab came out with this really great survey recently where they found that top performing firms saw 2 times the growth in assets from new clients, and that was driven by marketing efforts and centers of influence referrals. So by having a consistent brand with brand recognition, you can achieve 2 times more growth. Now, take a look at these 2 gentlemen here. The one on the left has on a nice collared blue shirt, right, with the Polo logo on it. The gentleman on the right has on the exact same shirt, but without the logo. Well, in different studies, they have proven that the person on the left appears to be more put together, more professional, and more trustworthy, just by having a little logo. Just the logo. What? Also, your average branded polo shirt costs around $75. Your average cost of a non-branded men's shirt of a similar style, according to Amazon, is around $25. That is a $50 price difference. $50 in the stitching of the Polo logo. Their brand has increased that cost to you as the consumer of that shirt by 300% in perceived value, just because of the logo. Now, within your business, you can do the same thing. By having a high quality professional brand, you can increase the value that you deliver to your clients. And guess what? It's perceived value. Now, let me take a moment and step back. Everyone here is doing great servicing their clients. No question about it. But what I want to call out is that by having a consistent brand, it's now perceived that you are better. Consistency creates confidence, which turns into trust, and that becomes value. For those of us joining today's conversation, and if you're looking for more referrals, shorter time to close business, increasing your percentage of wins, and ultimately just feeling better about your company, well, we've got good news. You've come to the right presentation, because that's what we are going to talk about. So we're going to start off in just a few moments, not quite yet, but in a few moments. We're going to start off with the foundational elements. We're going to explain them all. And it starts with something called brand guidelines. These are the rules for how your brand can be shown. It's a roadmap. And it becomes much, much easier to create consistency when you have a solidified brand guideline. But first, what I'd like to do is to hear from one of your peers on why and what does branding mean to you. So with that, I'd like to welcome Kelly Davis from CSI. And Kelly, what does branding mean to you?
So I really like this question, because if you had asked me 2 years ago what I thought of our brand, I wouldn't have an answer for you. I wouldn't have even given it a thought. But now I would say our brand is how we want the rest of the world, everyone outside of our office, to see what it is that we do and how we do it. When you walk into our office, you have the words communication, relationship, and integrity. And that's really what we want to reflect in everything that we do. But 95% of the people that we work with will never walk into this office. So we want to make sure that those values are communicated to everyone who will never walk into our office. And the first time that they see us, those values are being reflected in the materials that we're putting forth that they can see.
Thanks, Kelly. I love that. So for CSI, they have a lovely font family called BioSans. We're going to talk about fonts in a little bit. They also have solidified colors and their local imagery in the Indiana area. And if you notice that one idea was that throughout their brand guidelines, the beautiful smiling people you see in the imagery, those are not actors, folks. Those are the actual advisors and team members that are part of CSI. So what a great way to take advantage of your team and to show how you can work together in collaboration and to really put your personalized professional stamp within your materials. When you look at their content and it talks about how they support with fiduciary plan governance, plan design education in different financial wellness programs, you will notice that their branding is consistent throughout with their logos, that gorgeous photography that shows off their entire team. So thank you again, Kelly, so much for sharing. All right, well, now it's time for your virtual experience. We're going to take a moment and we're going to go through a handout. There should be a handout coming to everyone right now. If you can, please click on it. And then a lot of us probably have double screens. So if you have two monitors, if you could put one of the exercise on the right-hand monitor or the left, but one of the screens, please add it there and then follow along on the other screen, because this is your time to experience how to build your custom brand. And your handout should look like this. This is called the Build Your Brand Workshop, Discovering Your Visual Identity for Formalizing Your Brand. So everyone go ahead, open that worksheet. And then during today's experience, the next couple of moments, we're actually going to discuss those building blocks that you can use to build your brand. Additionally, we're going to reveal some really great websites and some free resources that you can use to create the foundation for your custom brand. Everyone ready? All right, well, it starts off with this. Do you have a logo? Your logo is the cornerstone of your brand identity. You want it to clearly communicate who you are and what you value. It should be visibly appealing. Simple, clean, and uncluttered is going to go a long way. Also, you want it to make a lasting impression. Your logo is 360 degrees of visually encapsulating and encompassing of your company's representation, and most importantly, you want to love your logo. Love it. I often joke with our clients that you should be willing, you don't have to, but you should be willing to tattoo it on your body because you love it that much. Now, if you don't have a logo, don't worry about it. There are so many great resources out there nowadays that you can use. The first company I'm going to mention today, it's called 99 Designs. They produce gorgeous logos, and I'm sure they would be very happy to work with you. Also, you probably live in a community that has very talented graphic designers. You could connect with one of them, ask them to commission you a new logo. So reach out to graphic designers, ask them to help you create a logo that you would be willing, that's right, to tattoo on your body. So next we're going to jump into the psychology of color. Color plays an important part in how our brand is perceived. It can help you better attract and connect with your ideal clients. Color has the power to evoke feelings. It ignites emotion, and this is not any different when it comes to selecting the optimal colors for your business. Let me show you how. We want to start off with the words behind the meaning of color that are going to best describe your brand. Did you know that blue, the color blue, evokes feelings of trust, loyalty, dependability, logic, serenity, and security? These are all immediate feelings that we experience when we look at the color blue. Whereas when you see orange, it adjusts our mood. It's bright, fun, happy, joyful, and it sparks creativity. Then there's green. It slows down the human body, produces a calming effect, and it's often associated with peacefulness and tranquility. It also symbolizes respect and sincerity. As humans, we feel colors. And so what I want you to do is, in front of everyone, you should have the psychology of color, the second portion of your worksheet. And I want you to look at the words underneath the colors, because we want you to know how the colors in your brand are going to directly impact your client experience. Now, as you look at these feelings and decide how you want your clients to feel when they experience your brand. For example, let's say you want your clients to know that you're trustworthy, loyal, and dependable. But you also want them to know that you're confident, creative, and excited. And at the same time, you believe in a logical approach with wisdom and want to help them create wealth. With that, I want to introduce everyone to a second website. It's called colors.co. This website is going to help you select a color palette that is beautiful and that will work well with what you're looking to achieve based on those feelings. So here we have 3 example colors. They're teal blue, a mango tango, which I think is really fun to say. Mango tango is the orange, and a French lilac. And those are the 3 colors representing trust, creativity, and wealth. And then later in today's conversation, we're actually going to share with you how you can apply these colors so that way you can layer them together to create a cohesive brand. It has been found that color improves brand recognition by 80%. So we want to ensure that your colors match your values. Think of it like this. When you think of the color blue, for example, and all the different shades and hues of blue, the feelings that are evoked when someone sees the color light blue, for example, is a very different feeling when they see a deep navy blue. And we want to be sensitive to that because the colors associated with your brand are going to create an impression, a spark, and we want it to be memorable. Consistent color has the power to improve brand recognition by over 80%. Also on that website that I mentioned, colors.co, if you're curious about what are other organizations doing, or if you want to know what are some other like fun, colorful, trendy palettes that are out there, different ideas, go online, check it out. There's so many beautiful resources out there. But what I want to stress, and this is so important, is that you start with the psychology, start with the words that are going to best encapsulate how you want your clients, your prospects to feel about your brand. All right. Next, let's talk about the psychology of fonts, because fonts represent the tone of your brand. There are 5 primary fonts. They are serif, sans serif, display, handwriting, and monospace. A font can show your professionalism, your cool and casual attitude, your authority, and/or your creative flair. The fonts you choose to use in your materials need to reflect your professional brand qualities. Fonts show mood and emotion. It's your tone. A rounded font makes a somewhat casual and relaxed impression. Fonts with straight lines in the serif format feel reliable and trustworthy. A heavy font shows boldness, confidence, and strength, whereas a lighter font represents a softer message. Open fonts give the impression that a person is accessible. Your professional font is very much like your personal handwriting. The typeface you choose for your written materials, including online materials as well, makes a strong impression. An impression that occurs as your audience is reading each and every one of your words. So now let's look at some examples. Serif typefaces tend to be thought of as classic and traditional. Most books, newspapers, and magazines are printed in a serif font. They're authoritative, and with the serif, which I think this is so fun, Serif is a French word that means little feet. Little feet. Makes me laugh every single time. So the little feet guide the reader fluidly. They move their eyes from one word to the next, like they were all connected with little feet. So this connection lessens the strain on our eyes, which is another reason why a lot of larger publications are printed in a serif font. Now, sans serif typefaces are thought of as more modern and contemporary. The New York City subway system is very famously done in Havelica, which at the time was a very avant-garde modern font family. Next, we're going to discuss 3 typefaces that are not as common. They are used, but they're not as common in financial services. They are display, handwriting, and monospace. Display fonts are bold and eccentric, and they grab the reader's attention. Handwriting style fonts are seen as playful, personal, and informal. I'm sure everyone here at some point has noticed in an email signature. So you're reading an email, you get to the bottom of the email, and the person has signed their name in like a cursive font. So Steve, for example. It's at the bottom of their email. That's a handwriting font, it's a cursive font, and a lot of times you'll see that when people are trying to personalize their email. Then there's monospace, and it is thought of as balanced and easy to read. So consider, what do you want your fonts to say about you? When choosing a font, keep it simple. Choose no more than 2 fonts to use in your materials. Stick with 2 and keep them consistent. Also, be careful to keep the font size fairly consistent within a given document, so that way the reader's eyes are not jumping back and forth between large and small text. And then one last thing, just please make sure that your font is legible, both online and in printed materials, because you don't want to spend this time considering your font's moods and emotions to be wasted if the reader can't quickly and easily figure out what you're trying to say. If you need help finding a font family that captures your tone, there's another free resource I want to call out. It's called fontjoy.com. It's a website devoted to different font pairings, and it'll help you to capture the essence of your tone. So take a couple moments, check it out. It's actually really fun to see how all of the different font varieties and then how they have an impact on human emotions. All right, so let's take a look at an example of a font pairing. We have a serif font, Georgia. I think most people are familiar with that one, right? Georgia. And then a more modern font called Open Sans, which is a sans serif font. When you put them together, the reader experiences the tone of traditional, classic, and high-end paired with open and approachable. Now, let's see how that's different than this example of a sans serif font called Lado. It's a new, cool, like fun font family. It's generally used with technology firms to show that they're innovative nature. So if you feel like your firm embraces and adaptive to new ideas, then maybe you should consider this font. If your organization is into ESG funds, believes in API connectivity for efficient retirement plan data exchange, streamlining investment oversight, and possibly you're a 338 investment manager, implementing plan design features that automate, such as auto enrollment and auto escalation, and some other forward-thinking ideas, then this font could be representative of your values and reflect your business's tone. Well, in this example, we've paired Roboto, which is a monospace font. It's easy to read and shows balance and harmony. Both of them together creating modern, clean, chic, and tech-forward look. Let's see this in action. Here we have an example of Freedom Financial. This is your classic Georgia and Open Sans fonts. How does this make you feel? What about this one? Same copy, same text, different feeling, right? Now what about here? How does this move your emotions? When you put them together, you can see how each one of them has their own unique tone. And that tone is either going to attract or deter your ideal clients. So you want to make sure that the fonts that you choose are helping to communicate your values throughout all of your mediums, your digital, your print. So when your clients, prospects, and centers of influence are reading your content, they're experiencing the mood, emotions, and tone that your professional organization is conveying. So like I said earlier, your fonts can show your professionalism, your cool, calm, collected attitude, and your creative flair. So please choose fonts that reflect your professional brand qualities because your fonts show your firm's mood, tone, and they create a memorable experience. Now we're going to move on to imagery. Because just like we have learned about colors and fonts, we want your imagery to help convey your message. The right imagery can help to strengthen your identity. That will attract your ideal clients, retain your current clients, and impress your centers of influence to grow your business. When considering imagery, we have often found that it's actually easier to do the process of elimination than it is to try and start from scratch. So I'm going to kind of give you some examples here as we go through it. So for example, when you think of your business, you think of your clients, do you consider yourself more of a boardroom advisor or a break room advisor? Are you all buttoned up and professional, or are you more casual, business casual? Do you work with white collar, blue collar, or gray collar clients? Do you prefer cityscapes or landscapes? Are you based in, the hustle and bustle of a big city? Or is your office in a calm and tranquil naturescape? What do you and your clients identify with? Do you have any niche markets? Unions, technology firms, churches, dentists, doctors, architects? If so, you'll want to reflect that in your selected imagery. And if you don't, no worries, no big deals. Just keep your images open for future possibilities. And what's most important in that selecting images is that they reflect your values. So for example, here we have the lovely Chicago cityscape paired with professionals working together and representing an inclusive environment. Now let's start to put it all together. Take those beautiful colors that we discussed earlier. Remember, we started with blue, orange, and purple, trust, creativity, and wisdom. The fonts are a sans serif, showing openness and approachability. We have a Chicago-based firm represented in the imagery, then showing working professionals meeting in groups like a retirement plan committee. By putting these together, we are layering the feelings that people are experiencing when they look at this. These are all the foundational building blocks necessary to create a cohesive brand. When you think of your brand, I want you to start by considering your logo. Then, what are your colors and the psychology and the hidden meanings behind them? What fonts do you use and why? Lastly, your imagery. How is that helping to attract your ideal clients? The one thing we're trying to prevent is this. This is a Frankenstein hodgepodge of materials cobbled together. Say it again. Frankenstein hodgepodge materials cobbled together. No, we want your materials to be beautiful. So here are a couple of quick examples that we see pretty regularly when we work with our clients. Let me see if any of them resonate with you. Okay, how about a folder with an old logo? Does anyone have that? A folder with an old logo. It happens all the time. We see it folders are expensive. We understand that. Well, if you have that, I hate to say it, but it's time to recycle it. Next, a pitch deck. A pitch deck that has had various slides kind of jammed in there. So you saw a presentation, you really liked a slide, you grabbed the slide, you threw it in your pitch deck, but it doesn't look cohesive. It kind of is out of place. Well, if that's true, connect with that local graphic designer and have them update it so it matches your brand. You want each and every one of your pieces to instill confidence. You want to make sure that when your clients receive your materials, they have full trust in your retirement plan expertise. By making tiny little changes, little adjustments, like we've mentioned, standardizing your colors, your fonts, these actions enhance your firm's brand presence and can make a huge difference. A great first impression leaves your potential clients feeling like they are working with a professional, and we want that for you. But it doesn't stop there. A visual presence is more important than ever before because everyone now is working from home. So you have to make sure that everything that we have discussed so far is going to complement the rest of your branding. And everyone's first impression is now their digital impression. So just don't stop at creating your brand guidelines. You need to implement them or else the rest of your content. So look at your website. Is it consistent? Your LinkedIn profile, any virtual digital brochures, pitch decks, newsletters, email templates, so that everything is building confidence in your professional services. Here's another example. Here we have the Fi360 brand, where they have an Open Sans as their primary font, so approachable. Then Georgia as their body font, so traditional, classic, trustworthy. And these three colors, orange representing creativity, excitement, and success. Black instills confidence, sophistication, security, power, and elegance. And gray, timelessness, neutrality, balance, intelligence, and strength. All of those things are communicated through the Fi360 branding. And when you put it all together in their brand guidelines with their beautiful certifications, their welcome kit, and the rest of their content, that speaks to the significance of the Fi360 brand. There was a study done recently where they found that 64% of clients said they had a strong brand relationship with their advisors because of shared values. So if you're interested in how you can increase your referrals to the right prospects, you want to make sure that you're communicating that, especially through the right imagery to create that strong emotional pull to create brand loyalty. When financial advisors have loyal clients, it makes your practice more stable and enhances continuity. Client retention leads to gathering more assets, sparks more referrals, enhances profitability, and has the ability to increase the overall value of your business if you're interested in future mergers or acquisition activities. All right, so how does this make you feel right now? We've got this worksheet. It's in front of you. We've given you all of these ideas, but hopefully we're giving you also a clear direction where you can start to put the pieces together. That way you have to take these proud steps forward. And with these little tweaks here and there, you can absolutely do this and make your brand wow-worthy. So here are some next action steps. What I'd like you to do to get started, I want you to share this conversation with your team and start to gather some feedback. Revisit the Fi360 learning management system and replay this with your team so you can all collaborate together. Then organize. Gather all of your marketing materials and look at all of your content, your visual reputation. Look at your logo, your colors, your fonts, your imagery, and then organize it. Then get everyone together and start to formalize your brand. What are your colors? Is it blue or is it teal blue? Is it orange or is it mango tango? Is it purple or is it French lilac? Then implement it. Ask a team member, and then consistently review and refine your brand. So as I mentioned, as a helpful guide, what we found is that if you appoint a team member, ask them, hey, do you mind running lead on this? And then send them the entire kitchen sink of marketing content. The sky is the limit. And then have them start to print out or to email out the different pieces and start to identify the things that need to be updated. Are they all on brand? Start with those basics, look at your materials, and work towards updating all of your content. So with that, we're going to hear from one of your peers, and he's going to share with us why he believes having a strong brand is so important.
In the business that we're in, which entails the sales of large retirement plans, I mean, people trust you with hundreds of millions of dollars, and having stability, having a reputation in the marketplace is critically important. Because this is a business of trust, and people have to trust you with a lot of money, quite frankly. So having a brand and being able to illustrate and articulate who you are as an organization is critically important. And you can do that a couple different ways. You do that through the work that you do. You do that through your professional reputation and through referrals. And importantly, when you have marketing materials and you have leave behinds for prospects, or you have materials that are utilized in a finals meeting, they need to be very professional, they need to be very up to date, and they need to be cohesive. And when I say cohesive, I mean you need to have a theme that exists throughout your portfolio of marketing pieces that people can follow. And once you build that theme, it's easy to build upon and get more specific. But my philosophy as it relates to marketing, and really my approach to this business, is people want things to be simple. So keeping things simple, keeping things fresh, I think is of utmost importance. And having a memorable brand and a memorable presentation is important for all of us. So, I think it's a critical part of this business.
Thanks, Dave. So for Dave and Atlanta Retirement Partners, they use Georgia as their primary font family and Arial as their secondary font family. They have 3 beautiful colors: blue, green, and near white. Trustworthiness, growth and prosperity, and the sophistication and clarity with white. Then their imagery is all about people working together, collaboration, and with a calm, tranquil, healthy, natural look throughout. When you put it together, you can apply the retirement plan landscape on top of it. Now you're creating a brand for Atlanta Retirement Partners that emulates Dave's values. And he's able to communicate that not only through his logo, colors, fonts, and imagery, but all together to create the brand that is Atlanta Retirement Partners. Thank you again, Dave. So now I want to give you guys another tip. Another way that you can help standardize your colors throughout your organization. Microsoft has what are called themes. You can use this feature in PowerPoint, Word docs, and other portions of the Microsoft suite, and where you can change the colors so that way you can fix what is shown to everyone within your organization. That way all of your documents will no longer have the default Microsoft color palette, but instead you can apply your own palette, and this is going to help to lock down your branding and to standardize it. So take advantage of this free resource. It's all part of the default system, as I mentioned, on Microsoft Office's suite of resources. And then so implement that, take advantage of it, apply it throughout, and this is going to help your company stay more organized. Here are some other action steps. So week 1, let's say next week, today is Wednesday, so let's say next Wednesday, you have your team together, get your team together. So on a Zoom call or a conference call, and you say, hey guys, I attended this webinar last week, and I learned a lot about the importance of professionalizing our brand. And I want us to professionalize our brand. I know we can do this. And I want to do this for a couple of reasons, and here they are. Having a consistent brand has the ability to increase our referrals, our client retention, and it may even increase our revenue by 23%. Next, as your next step, you need to ask someone within your team to take the lead. Appoint this person. Then ask them to collect all of your firm's marketing content. I mean, literally all of it. Don't be shy, don't be bashful, send it over to them. During week 2, take the time to look at all of those materials. I recommend every single team member take a few moments, a half an hour, to look at the materials and ask, how does this make us feel? Is it consistent? Does it represent us well? Does this live up to our professional reputation? Then go back through the materials and evaluate them. Do you have the same logo throughout? You'd be absolutely amazed. This seems like such a simple, easy example, but we actually see it all the time with our clients where they have either like an old logo or a logo with different colors. Sometimes it's horizontal, sometimes it's vertical, sometimes it's inverted. It happens constantly. The same thing with colors. Do you have the same colors throughout? As I mentioned earlier, color has the ability to increase brand recognition by 80%. So when you look at your blue, is it blue or is it teal blue? Is it orange or is it mango tango? Then your fonts, pick 2, just 2, don't complicate it. Are the fonts the same throughout? Then jump ahead to your imagery. And by doing this in sections, it's a lot easier to identify than trying to look at one document with everything all done. So try and compartmentalize it. So now look at imagery. How is the imagery communicating with your ideal clients? Do they see themselves in your materials? Now, every single time your brand is slightly off, what happens is it dings at your professional reputation. We want everyone to look at your content and go, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. How can I work with you? How can I hire you? Because you're exactly what I was looking for. That's what we want. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, it would be amazing, right? Okay, so once you look at that, and now in week 4, things should start to become more evident and kind of pop to the surface. Because once you start to notice them, they become very obvious. And also, now that everyone in your organization is talking about your brand, reviewing all of your materials, this is creating a greater brand awareness and pride. Pride, I love that, in your brand. All right, in week 5, either hire someone to help you or task a graphic designer to update your materials. Give them about 3 weeks. It might take some time to get everything done, from your website to social media profiles to pitch decks to digital overviews. Have them all worked on. Then in week 8, have them present all of those materials. So set up, another team meeting, like a conference call or a Zoom call, and then share it with everyone. You will immediately notice those materials are going to shine and sparkle with all of your cohesiveness, and now it's time for you to share it with the world for maximum success. So take a look at your worksheet again, so that way you can identify ways that you can immediately implement to improve. Because when you have a quality brand, it helps you increase your referrals, it reduces your time to close new business, it increases the value of your company, and ultimately, by having a strong brand, it is a win-win for everyone on your team. And it feels better, which I think is such an amazing side effect. But when we talk with our clients, they very, very often tell us, we, as an organization, as a team, we just feel better. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And I don't think you can really put a price on feeling better. So I hope that you found that creating brand guidelines are helpful rules for how your brand can be shown. It's a roadmap, and that makes it easy to follow to create your consistent brand. Okay, so what did we talk about today? Well, we started off by defining what is a brand. Then we learned the why behind each portion as we dissected the brand elements and then put them back together, building on the foundation to help you create a memorable, long-lasting brand. We went through the exercise where we revealed your brand potential. We heard from your peers and their thoughts on why branding is important. And we presented a timeline so you can appoint a team member, get them excited, so that way you can create a solid action plan towards your branding success. If you're looking for more resources on how to market and to promote your business, I highly encourage you to go on Fi360's learning management platform, where we have 2 other presentations that can help you on your branding journey. The first one is called 100 Points of Marketing. It's an interactive experience where you can test your marketing to figure out and to evaluate your current materials and immediately identify where there are opportunities for improvement. This presentation is also good for those CE credits that we all need. Also, last year's presentation is called Influence to Inbound, and you can learn how to implement content marketing within your business to increase the number of inbound sales, conversions, and ultimately happy clients. So with that, quality branding is an investment in innovative thinking. It can create value through differentiation, competitive advantage, market share, and client loyalty. Your brand tells your story and helps you stand out from the competition. So we hope that this has been helpful and encouraging. I want to say thank you again, everyone, so much for joining today. Thank you so much for the Fi360 team. My name is Rebecca Auerhan with 401k Marketing. We hope this presentation will assist you as you become the go-to retirement plan professional within your community. Thank you, and now we're going to open it up for some Q&A.